Hi, welcome to Redirect Yourself. I am Donna San Salvador, and if you've never been here before, I certainly hope that you like it and that you'll subscribe. Also, if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. This channel is devoted to carving out some world peace by each of us getting just a little bit more happy and learning how to better navigate the relationships in our lives and deal with stress and other types of issues. So today I wanted to continue to talk to you about boundaries. These are so important. Knowing when and with who we have certain limits, as well as being able to express those limits. I spoke in a couple of other videos about boundaries, and today I kind of want to talk about limits and how can you figure out where, when, how to put boundaries up. First of all, no, boundaries really help our relationships, and they're different with each person we have a relationship with. What we will tolerate and won't tolerate from others, those are limits. So if someone that we engage with has inappropriate behavior, right? Knowing that we deem that behavior inappropriate and knowing that, we want to set a limit is the first step in having a boundary, is first knowing that that is our limit. And then secondarily is recognizing what our rights are in a situation. I find that many of us don't quite know what our rights are. But I'm here to tell you today that you have a right to express your limits. Whether or not the other person observes the boundary and sticks to the limit, is a different story. That gives us information about the person, and it helps us to better determine where in our life does this person fit. So it's a good idea if you know that you maybe need to start implementing some boundaries. Perhaps you have undergone some changes to your belief system or to your work-life balance or to what you find to be important or what you're engaging in on a regular basis. These would necessitate really determining the relationships that are already existing in our life prior to the changes. Even if you haven't undergone changes, maybe you've come to the realization that, people maybe take advantage of you because your boundaries aren't strong enough. And that's maybe what led you here. No matter why you're here, I'm glad you made it. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to get something useful out of this video today. So, what I mean by take stock of what people are in your life, it's a good idea to maybe write down on a piece of paper, who is in your life and go from inner to outer. So who are the people that you are most trusting of? Who are the people that you feel you can truly be yourself authentically and genuinely and express yourself, and they accept you and you can trust them, that you can share lots of your vulnerable information too, and it will not get passed on, it will not be used against you, it will be a trusted person to care for that information. Part of boundary building and developing boundaries is knowing who we can and cannot trust in our life. So those you trust the most are your inner circle, and then as you work your way out, it would be people you trust less and less. Sometimes that's determined by the nature of the relationship, i.e. a work person, roommate versus best friend. But not always. And so once you have taken stock of the people in your life and you see who you do trust and who you trust less, then you can start determining with whom do I need to begin to develop maybe some boundaries with, and what limits am I going to set. So once you've done the bit of figuring out who's in your life that you can trust and who you can't so much trust, those relationships then, right, are going to determine how much you can share with these individuals as far as your vulnerability goes. And if you don't know, maybe I'll do another video on that. But for now, just know that those you trust the most are likely to be the ones that you can give the most vulnerable information to, or secret or confidential information. And then as you work your way out to those you trust less, you would give them less information. Now, with that being said, to develop boundaries with people, maybe even people who we've had in our life a long time and who we do trust, but we now have certain limits that we didn't have before, we need to determine what those limits are. So that means inappropriate behavior, for instance. Let's suppose that you have recently determined that you are not bisexual, but instead you are homosexual, and you have people in your life who do some gay bashing or have expressed, dislike of people who are gay or homosexual. And whereas maybe that didn't bother you before, but now that you have changed how you identify personally in your sexuality, it bothers you. And perhaps some of the things that they say are maybe mean or very derogatory, or maybe even hurtful in nature. That might be a place where you'd like to set a limit and ask people not to use those derogatory terms. Now, we know from previous videos we cannot make people think or feel how we want them to. So setting a boundary is not saying, I want you to accept me. I want you to like this about me. I want you to change your mind about how you feel about this topic. It's none of that. It's saying, I personally do not like it or appreciate it when people speak ill of homosexuals or of homosexuality in general. And to keep this friendship intact, I would prefer it if when you're with me, that is absent from our conversations. So when you do that, you then get to gauge the other person's response. And that tells us a lot. Sometimes we may have to change whether or not we trust someone fully based on the way they respond to our boundaries. And that is valid, and you have a right to do that as well. So I want to keep these videos short for now. This with the no video and why, of course, boundaries are important should get you started on this, and I will make another video soon about this, I promise. I'm so glad that you were here. I really, truly hope that you got something out of this today and are able to use it to make your life just a little bit happier. And I hope you'll come back again, share the video, like it, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day.